Well, hello today, and I wanted to share with you our question of the day for our 10 things. And I hope the picture in front of you is getting you thinking about it. I wonder if you have ever been in an accident. Have you? I have, and that's kind of what our theme is today. The question is 10 hard gratitude moments, bad things that can turn out to be good, and why. So, the first thing is your software isn't working as it should. Most of us have experienced this if you've run a business or you just, for your job or whatever. And it's frustrating, isn't it? But what can you be happy? What can you be grateful for? Well, this recently happened to me. Some software wasn't working correctly, and I found out that, in fact, I was very grateful that I didn't because I met somebody who became a friend of mine who helped me work through the situation, and so I got a point of contact. Number two, a product isn't being delivered as an initial as initially anticipated. So they might have said it was going to be ready in a week, and it's been 3 weeks, or whatever. And once again, I find that a product being delivered can be very irritating. In fact, you might even get really upset with a company. But what had happened sometimes, and this happened to me not long ago, was that when they found out that there was an error on their part, a technical issue on their part, not delivering a product, they kind of owed me one. And because they owed me one, I got just fantastic service from that point on. And so sometimes initial delivery does not necessarily, or problems may not mean that the company is not good. It's just that they made a mistake. Number three, that you discover you have an illness. Um, no one likes to hear the C word or, the D word, diabetes. I have a good friend that about 4 years ago was diagnosed, well, actually 5 years ago, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And he made a decision that he was going to aggressively attack this thing and with chemo and things of that nature. And he went through a very, very rough year, but has now been cancer free for 4 years. And so initially it was a bad thing, but what he got out of that was he found out that he was a stronger individual. It tightened his relationship with his wife and his son, and uh, in the long run made things really, really better in his life. Number four, a friend has unfriended you, and this doesn't have to be on Facebook. Maybe you've just, they, for whatever reason, they've taken offense or something like that. How is this a good thing? Well, I think in two ways that it can be great. You can be grateful. First of all, if you don't know why somebody has unfriended you, maybe they weren't that great of a friend to begin with. And the second thing is that it gives you a moment to evaluate your own actions. Um, you know, to know yourself is an important lesson and principle in life, and it allows you to do some introspection to say, hey, am I the friend that somebody wants to be? Maybe more people should unfriend me. Number five, you find yourself waiting in a doctor's office for a long time. Oh, we've all been there. And, you know, I think of this when you're, especially if you're with somebody, um, that gives you an opportunity actually to spend some one-on-one time with a loved one, which is pretty awesome. It's a gift. Number six, you discover that you don't have a particular skill set. Wow, that can be so frustrating because you find out you're not as smart as you thought you were. That's okay. There's two things that happen that I think you're grateful for. First of all, you can go find somebody and you can build your team. And number two, that allows you to find out that, hey, if I'm not good at that skill set and I outsource that to somebody else, or I get someone else to take care of that for me, I can concentrate on what I'm best at, and that way I'm more efficient. Number seven, your stereo gets blown up in a storm. Guys, I'm sorry, but this actually happened to me. I'm watching television one night, and this wasn't a cheap stereo. I mean, it died. So I had to rewire everything. Lo and behold, that stereo had been dying for some time, evidently, because the volume had to be increased and increased and increased, and I didn't even know there was a problem with it. And when I unplugged it, and of course my television was connected to it, I found out that actually the volume on the television was more than adequate than I needed for what I was doing. So sometimes when one thing is destroyed, you find out how good everything else really operates, that you didn't need it to begin with. Number 8, your car gets totaled in an accident. Back to that picture at the very beginning. Wow, has this ever happened to you? Well, it happened to me a few years ago. I was driving a car, and I love the car. I just stopped by to pick up a milkshake from Steak and Shake, and I was driving along, and I was driving through, and all of a sudden, bam! I get hit from on the driver's side by a car that went through a red light, and guess what? The car got totaled. But you know what? I had great insurance, and I found out, and I'm grateful because I had great insurance, and they paid out. They totaled the car. I actually made several $100s, actually over $1,000 on the car, and that gave me enough of a down payment to be able to buy a car that really met even more of the needs than I ever had. Then number 9, one of your relatives becomes immobile. Through illness, through an accident, and whatever, they can't get around as well. I think this is it's sad that when it happens, but what an opportunity for gratitude, because you can show your love and your affection for that person by taking them and driving them places and running errands for them and things of that nature, and you can create a better bond in your relationship than you ever had before. And number 10, you get laid off or fired from your job. And that seems like the end of the world, doesn't it? I had a good friend not long ago that he was doing the right thing. He was working well. He loved where he worked. He got a new boss in. The boss didn't like him, found a way to get rid of him. He lost his job. His wife told me not long after that and this is a person that is a happy individual, but since he lost that job, 2 things happened. Number 1, he was more full of joy than he had been for a long time. And the other thing is that he's now pursuing activities that he actually truly enjoys, and finds that he doesn't have to work as much to accomplish the same thing. So those are my 10 things on 10 hard gratitude moments. So what? So why are we? What's the purpose of this? Well, by looking at things from a different perspective, it helps our brains to grow. And every day, I'm going to be coming up with bringing you 10 more things that we need to look at. But these are the mental exercises that we need to build up our brains. And it is important. This isn't just self-talk, put a spit on it, and all that. It really does make a difference in our lives. It really does. And so until the next video, I want to thank you for stopping by and listening. Have a great day.